I don't know where to begin here as to why I've decided to even post anything on YouTube. I think that during this pandemic, I've always been what I would like to think a free thinker. Never have I really been controlled by the media, but that would probably be a lie. I lost my father in November due to very, unexpected circumstances. It is still an investigation right now. My dad was an ex-Army veteran and a very proud American. So I would like to at least state that I am a patriot and I fully support this nation and I fully support our president. That being said, during the quarantine time, I've had obviously a lot of time to explore different things, and one of them happens to be Pizzagate, which I feel like there's been enough discussion of it for us all to be at least surface level familiar with it. However, the rabbit hole is very deep. And so at first you hear Pizzagate, you see Comet Ping Pong, you hear James Alefantis, all of these names stick out, but then you begin to put things together. And when you start piecing things together, they're not so outrageous anymore, and these aren't crazy claims, and it's not fake news. It's actually huge news that is crazy that it's not mainstream news when you think about 800,000 children in the US go missing in a year. When you think about and you start to piece together the parties involved and the connections, you realize that this is a deep ring that floods through Hollywood, politics, even religion, churches, everything. It shatters your it definitely shatters you because you are in a state where you want to say, hold up, wait, this can't be real. What are you talking about? Like, my favorite people, favorite actors, such as Tom Hanks, such as Steven Spielberg. I mean, there are so many to name. I'm not going to go there yet. I think it's important that you start to unpeel the onion from the outside and work your way in. And from the outside, when you hear Pizzagate, you're going to start at Comet Ping Pong Pizza. So I highly suggest you do your Googles, you do your YouTubes, and you look into Comet Ping Pong Pizza. Look into Jimmy Comet. Look into hashtags of his Instagram that was public and has now since been made private. The images are very disturbing. Also familiarize yourself with the FBI released identifications when it comes to the markings of pedophilia, what they look like, what is a pizza, what is a hot dog, cheese, walnut sauce. These are all things that you need to go into and research on your own so that you can identify them when you start to dig and look through these videos that you'll find that start to paint the picture bigger for you. It is also important to note that WikiLeaks has just been a crusader for truth, and without it, I don't know where we would be as far as Judicial Watch and what they're doing to kind of bring this all into fruition. The fact that Hillary has to testify in September. The fact that they're going over the, Rod Rosenstein, what he signed off on. The fact that they are examining so many things that have like literally been campaigns to take down President Trump, whom I would like to tell you I did work for. And I'm 42 now, but when I was about 19, I was the receptionist for the Trump Organization. And I can proudly say that there was never any nonsense that went on. And he was a very good man. And there were always people of all races, many colors, always there to probably obtain help from him, which I think he granted. And I think that if you can see anything from his tenure in office, you can see real change and not just talked about change. I'm not going to get really deep into Obamagate and all that right now. It's my first YouTube video, so I'm a little nervous. But I just think that it's very important that people who are awake are able to share with others. And this isn't about forcing you to do anything, forcing you to believe. I don't agree with that. I don't want to force anyone. I want you to take information and think for yourself. Because we are living in an age where it is the information age. There is so much information out there, and yet the majority, I want to say almost all of mainstream media is completely controlled to feed you what they want to. The stories that they want to will be the same on all of the news networks. They don't differ really from one another. It's the same message. It's stay home. It's this, it's that. I also don't want to dive too much into my feelings of Bill Gates, which I think he's horrific. His ties to the Wuhan lab, his deals that he made prior to the pandemic for the vaccine. You got to do your research. Very good person to follow is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He is an advocate for the choice of vaccines. I would not want you to think like, oh, I was uneducated. I have 2 children. They are vaccinated up until a certain degree. Since I've become more knowledgeable, I have declined a lot of the modern and the newer vaccines that they're giving. If you want to be very simple when it comes to vaccines, read an insert. Read an insert. Look at the lack of liability that they have when it comes to your child. Look at the amount of aluminum and the other chemicals that they're shooting into your baby, who is literally just pounds old. Think for yourself, think outside the box, because when you start to think about these things, you do realize that they don't make sense. It doesn't make sense that my son was 5 pounds 11 ounces and you want to put 4 shots in him of 4 different diseases, 2 in one leg, 2 in the other. And I was called the doctor. She was just like, oh no, you can't say no to that. And I was like, well, you're not the doctor for my son then. And this was, again, before I was even a little bit knowledgeable when it came to vaccines and the after effects and the deaths and the diseases that have been imposed once they've been taken. But again, my main focus, though, is this huge Pizzagate, pedogate ring that is sucking our children. They're being programmed even now on television shows that they regularly watch with subliminal messages, and all of them inside of them are messages and signals for pedophilia. It's so disturbing. I have had access and I've seen the very dark web video regarding Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin, and you know, once the problem is, I want to warn you, once you go down this hole and you connect the dots for yourself, it's hard to be the same. So I suggest you take deep breaths and you do it in increments, and you kind of process things for yourself and kind of step back into like normal worlds, and you know, just separate yourself from it for a second, because it can be very overwhelming. And it has become very overwhelming for me at times, and it's very disturbing. However, that also being said, you need to know, you need to share. This is going on, and there have been so many whistleblowers that have literally spoken out, and a lot of them are dead. A lot of the people that witnessed the horrific video of Clinton on Anthony Weiner's laptop, either they cried, they vomited, and now 9 out of 12 of the officers involved who witnessed the video are dead. Suicide. I'll also say this very straightforward. If you think Epstein killed himself, then this isn't the person to watch, because he did not. His security, his surveillance that he had going on his pedo island, as well as all of his other residencies, was